Hey guys, and welcome back to another Edo Catch-Up. I am Josh.
And I'm Will.
And this week, we are looking at the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, of course, because that's like the only thing really that we can talk about this week, other than like news and stuff. But
yeah.
it's the big thing of the week, and it's doing freaking really well, right?
It's doing very, very well. On its opening 3 days, $57 million in the US, which is huge. It's crossed over 100 worldwide, which is really cool. Comparatively, first 3 days of Detective Pikachu was 54.3, so not much more, but still, I mean, it's 4 million more almost. So, you know, it's certainly dollars.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's I think I heard that it's like currently the highest grossing video game film.
Yeah, well, it's projected to be. Obviously, it's only been out a few days, so it's not.
Yeah.
The studio had only projected the opening weekend to be 40, so it was an extra $17 million on what they assumed.
That's so good. That's really good for potential sequels.
On top of that, the audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, as of yesterday, it's probably dropped since then, but it was, I think, 95%.
Yeah, that's wild. It's so crazy for a movie that had so much controversy and people and like backlash last year. This is mental that it's doing so damn well.
Oh, I'm so thankful.
It's so good. But of course, what we're going to be talking about is our thoughts towards it and all that stuff. So, Will, what did you think?
I thought it was really, really fun. The one thing I keep telling people about it is, you know, obviously advertised pretty much as a family film, possibly steered towards the younger audience. But I went in and just kept watching and kept waiting for the moment that I had to like check out and go, it's a kid's film. I just have to accept that. But at no point does that happen. There's enough for the younger generation and for, you know, young adults and beyond to enjoy this. And it's just constantly surprising. It's so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole, like, the plot line overall is fairly simple.
Yeah.
Just the amount of stuff that is constantly happening, like Sonic non-stop talking, everyone just non-stop talking,
Yeah, they do.
making references to things, all of that is just constantly so interesting.
Yeah.
And engaging and hilarious. There's just no like boring bits that you zone out of. I think I was totally in this the whole film.
Which is so surprising. I had like this like flutter of fear. Full spoiler cast, by the way. If you haven't seen the film, look, go see the movie. It's not very long and it's out now. So please go check it out. We're going to be delving deep.
Absolutely.
Fairly early on in the film, we get introduced to Tom, or the Donut Lord, as Sonic refers to him as. But early on, we get introduced to the concept that he is going to be a cop in big city, and they're going to move house, and there's a very direct product placement for some American housing agency, which is fine. There's a few big drops of product placement in this movie, but they play them off pretty lightly, and it's not too...
So that website actually exists?
Yes,
Oh.
That's why they show it on screen for a good 10 seconds.
Yeah, right. I just, because I'd never heard of it, obviously I'm not in America, but
Yeah.
I just totally assumed that was just like a made up thing.
No, yeah, real website.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
I feel dirty now.
Yeah, I know, right? Also, Olive Garden. I kind of want one to be in Australia just so I can go to the Olive Garden now. I guess they've
Yeah, I want that now.
apparently got their pasta bowls are to die for.
Yeah.
Well, according to the movie. But
According to the film, yes.
in that scene, you know, there's all this stuff about moving to the city. The big cop is going to leave town, and I'm like, oh god, this is that. The tropes are all here. They're all being laid out. It's a small town boy, and but for some reason, it works. They don't get bogged down in it. It's a common through line, and it ties Sonic and Tom together in a really interesting way. And it gets resolved. It doesn't get forgotten as well, which a lot of those kind of early human-based problems kind of just get forgotten as, you know, the yellow rat or the blue hedgehog just takes over the film. So it's really satisfying that the film manages to wrap up all these little bits and pieces, and I'm just the word that I will keep dropping for this film is surprised.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah, with the like little cop going to the big city.
Big cop.
Big cop going to a little city. Yeah, they kind of do a pretty cool twist on that whole idea, because usually it's like he's got to try and prove himself in the big city to all of the big time cops. But this is like Sonic has essentially destroyed this guy's life in with his chances in becoming a cop in a big city. And so he sort of has to fix all of that,
Yeah.
I guess. And that's that's a pretty different trope to that sort of storyline, which I found quite refreshing myself. Like that was really nice that it wasn't just oh he's got to go and there's all the big cops that don't believe in a little cop because he just eats donuts and waves his speed detector thing at tortoises. They sort of really twisted in a pretty interesting way.
It is important to remember, for a brief moment on television, his name and face were linked to, like, terrorism acts, though. Like,
absolutely. Like,
that's pretty huge, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sonic destroys his life and probably overall his chances to work in this city.
Yeah.
Although it sort of gets resolved, the government sort of step in and give him a voucher. But, they would have probably then helped him to fix all of that since they are the government.
Absolutely. At this point, 7 minutes into the podcast, I want to point out that this film is so interesting and so much has gone on. We haven't even talked about Sonic, about Robotnik, about anything to do with the Sonic universe yet. We're only talking about James Marsden wanting to be a cop.
It's such an interesting plot.
It is.
But that's very true. That's very dumb.
We apologize for that. But speaking on Sonic, obviously one of the weirdest things this film does is introduces. Oh, did you understand that word? Introduces the character of Longclaw, which is the apparent Obi-Wan to his Luke Skywalker. And that's never existed ever.
Cool, because I was asking my mate at work, who was the guy I was asking in the upload the other day about Pokemon.
Yes.
He's a big Sonic fan, but mostly just the comic books and stuff like that sort of lore.
Well, that'd help.
And I asked him about it, and he's like, I have no idea who you're talking about. I don't know any owls in this universe. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, so there was, I looked this up, there was an owl in a movie in, 1996, but, not that. It wasn't, and it's weird because it's, a photorealistic owl as well. It's not, a weird Sonic owl. It's an actual owl.
Yeah, it doesn't look overly cartoony or, stylized.
No, it's bizarre, and I was talking to the guys at work, and I feel like this film originally opened with Sonic on Earth, and with all of what became before was a mystery. But when it all got redesigned and they realized they had this beautiful Sonic model, they were like, we've got to kind of put him in the cool thing and make people excited. So I feel like that whole intro section is fairly new, and jumping to the end of the movie, one of the post-credit bits, a character that gets introduced in that was never in any of the preview screenings when it was the original model, so I feel like a lot of the fan-favorite parts of this movie are probably post-redesign, including that opening sequence.
Interesting. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, and in that opening sequence as well, just to stay with cool, nerdy stuff, the clan that attacks Sonic, the Echidna tribe, which is Knuckles' clan. So
Knuckles, yeah. Because they're all just little red guys.
Yeah,
so cool.
Fingers crossed for the next one.
Oh yes.
Although technically Knuckles came in the third Sonic video game, so if they want to follow the proper progression of the games, he should be in the third one. But whatever.
They also don't need to do that.
They don't.
They can do what they want.
Yeah.
No one remembers Sonic.
So originally this film was a Sonic game where it was big and bombastic and you had Tails and Knuckles and everyone, and it wasn't human-y, but they didn't have a budget, so they redesigned the film to be kind of Alvin and the Chipmunks, but in a good respect.
Yeah, right.
Which is pretty interesting. And that comes from, I just need to bring this up, director Jeff Fowler, and this is his first film ever.
What?
This is his first film as a director. He,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he had a one credit for visual effects on Where the Wild Things Are, as just a researcher, not even in visual effects, and he wrote some short films. The only other big thing he's done is a 4-minute short film with a great name, Gopher Broke. It's like a gopher. I said it wrong. Gopher Broke. It's a clever little pun on a name, but that's the only other thing he's done, which was also animated. but it was also in 2004, so it probably didn't have a big impact on him getting this.
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny that it's also like a
Yeah.
CG animal.
Yeah.
It almost looks Sonic-esque, like the eyes. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, he certainly has a type.
That's hilarious. And then it looks like he was doing visual effects on Where the Wild Things Are in 2009.
Yeah, so that's what I said, but he was only a researcher.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
My bad.
That's what I said.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, so he's done a brilliant job of this film. And look, we need to talk about him. Sonic the Hedgehog. What a fun and slightly different version of the character than we've seen before, voiced by our boy
Ben Schwartz. Oh man, what a beautiful, beautiful man. We love him, especially from the Jake and Amir series on YouTube, from College Humor.
Jake and Amoosh.
That's the one. Oh man, go check out some Jake and Amir and Ben Schwartz videos. They are fantastic, and he's just a beautiful man. And he's one of the main voices from the latest series of DuckTales as well.
Yeah.
Which is just great. And other than that, I cannot think of what that guy does.
He's the voice of BB-8.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He wrote C-3PO's lines in Rise of Skywalker. Basically, he's friends with J.J. Abrams is the other thing he is.
Yes, and he's in and out of Parks and Rec as well.
Yes, yeah.
Forgot about that
Jim
one.
Ralphio. He is the son of Steve Harrington from Stranger Things.
Cool.
He's not. It's a big thing on the internet. It's a whole thing.
Oh, right,
Basically,
right,
they look the same, talk the same, act the same. Yeah.
Yep. Again, I was like phased out because I was looking up things. So I was like, yeah, no, that sounds good, Will. Yeah, good, fine. When I realized what you said, I sound like an idiot now. Thanks. Please talk. Damn it.
But yes, no, his Sonic, it's so much fun. But the thing that I'm saying it's a little bit different is the Sonic of the games. I mean, the first thing that you get of him is he's a sassy little bitch that's like, yeah, I'm a cool dude in the first ever game. Whereas in this, he's a lot younger. His voice is definitely a lot higher in pitch, which is kind of the voice Ben Schwartz does for a lot of his characters. And just in general, a bit less confident in himself. So a lot less, like, overly sassy. By the end, he gets very close to being the Sonic that we know, especially in one of the coolest sequences of the film. But it's really interesting that this film seems to be setting up a progression of both his character and Robotnik to eventually become the ones from the video games. Like, it seems like they want to make more movies, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the little mid-credit sequence that we get. That's they very much
Well, cheeky teasers.
Pushing towards a sequel there.
Oh yes.
But yeah, I feel like the video games, having not really played them, but seen people play them a lot online, it very much seems like those characters are already established. So they have been fighting for a while. It's not just like a new thing that Robotnik's come out of nowhere and is now attacking Green Hills and Sonic and all that. So yeah, I think it's a pretty solid, pretty cool origin story, I guess, if you can call it that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I dig it. I really like the progression that he takes. He's basically learning his powers like a superhero would.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things happen, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how I did that, and I don't know why that happened. It's real cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, just Ben Schwartz, our boy, doesn't stop talking. I feel like he just ad-libbed most of this movie.
Yeah.
With the amount of things that he said, the references that he made to pop culture and all this sort of stuff. It was just ridiculous.
It was so much
so
fun.
good. It was almost, I feel like if people don't know Ben Schwartz, they might get pissed off at this.
Yeah.
Because he talks so much. It was almost a little bit overwhelming, the amount that Sonic was talking.
From the press junkets I've seen, it's like a good percentage of people love him, but the other half are like, this guy seems like a douche.
Yeah.
But I also think people might also take from it that he's doing like a Ryan Reynolds impression from Detective Pikachu and a lot of his work, but it's a similar sort of humor, but a very different sort of humor. But he does have that kind of same register at times as well.
Yeah, definitely. And from what we've seen on YouTube and stuff like that, that's just him.
Yeah.
he's not even playing a character. It's like Ryan Reynolds playing any of his comedy characters. Like, it's just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, but having a different name.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much it.
He does the same thing.
It's so weird. It's so strange.
It's very odd. But speaking of people that have never acted in their life apart from one film, which I hadn't seen until fairly recently, but I really like it. It's a great film. Jim Carrey as Robotnik is probably the best piece of casting in any video game film since Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu, which was also fairly recently, but God, he's good.
Oh, man. He was fantastic. I feel like he made this movie
Yeah.
like so much better. Like the rest of the casting and the movie was great, but I don't think it would have been anywhere near as good without Jim.
Yeah.
It's going back to the Jim Carrey that we knew as children.
Absolutely. And from the interviews, it's the most positive he's been about a role in so long. So clearly he had a friggin' blast playing this.
Yeah. And I find it so interesting how tied together in all of the press stuff he and Ben are. Because Ben was just a voice.
Yeah.
Like, he could have never met anyone in this film at all. But yeah, their photos together, like they're like hugging and doing the almost coupley photos and stuff. So good.
It's so cool.
They almost seem like a match made in heaven, those two. It's perfect.
Oh, I'm so ready for this franchise to just live long in Star Trek. He has so many friggin' great lines in the film as well. Like, I've got them all written here, but...
You wrote a few.
I do. My favorite... I mean, I should do some other ones before my very, very much favorite one.
Yeah, let's work up to it.
Yeah, but this one isn't even one of his ones, but it's early on. It's from Tom's, like, side cop, which you just found out a cool fact.
Yeah, the side cop in this, I didn't realize until I looked up the cast and recognized him from his photo. What's his name? Adam Pally? Pally?
Yeah.
Paley? He's the TV van guy from Iron Man 3, the dude that basically, like, makes himself look like Tony Stark because he's so obsessed with him and has a tattoo of the guy. Pretty much the embodiment of me. But yes, I did not even notice.
No.
So next time I see it, I'll try and take more notice of that guy. It's so cool.
It's knowing that it's definitely, he's got a type.
He does, yeah.
But early on in the film, when Tom's on patrol, well, sitting still, he calls in by the radio. This one I had to write later because I was like, I'm writing these, I might as well. But it's like, there's been a gang shootout. Nah, actually, a duck stole a bagel, but they really need it back. Like, it's very good.
The freaking one-liners in this are so good.
Another one from Tom. Everyone calls me Tom, except for my dentist. He calls me Tim, but it's gone on too long now. Like,
it's so good.
It's so good. And in that same scene, this is my favorite one. I just need to say it. It's I was breastfed, actually. Nice. Rub that in my orphan face.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The way I've been describing this film to people at work is that it's a children's film with colonoscopy and orphan jokes.
Yeah, that was the other one I wanted to. Yeah,
yeah, that is like the description of this. Do you want to go ahead and mention that joke?
It's pretty much just before the road trip really kicks into Top Gear. Tom looks at Sonic and says, "Hopefully, I'm going to wake up in a hospital bed and my doctor will tell me my colonoscopy was a great success."
It's so
like, what?
It's so good. He just doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and just the best one from Jim Carrey, because this is like peak Jim Carrey. It goes, "You just sit there and you be you, Sliss."
Yeah, it's brilliant. The comedy, the timing of that.
Yeah.
In the second line is brilliant.
It's so long. Like, I think when he actually dropped it, it took a second.
Yeah. He's already walking away from the guy.
Yeah.
It was really funny. So my morning routine now, this is like slightly off topic, but
I was gonna say
also on topic. Yeah, I walk out of the shower because usually I walk out of the shower with minutes left to like finish getting ready and leave.
Yeah, right.
So now as I leave, I basically ask my roommates, Apple version of Google Home, what the time is. And then I ask it to tell me a joke. And this morning, It had a joke, and it had like the pause for comedic timing.
Oh,
and I was so
wow.
impressed that they programmed that in, because it was like a skeleton walks into a bar and asks for a drink and a mop. And I was like, that's great.
That's very good.
It's like there was actually a pause. They
Yeah.
actually paused and made it do that. It was fantastic. I was very impressed.
So you're saying that Apple's Google Home is just as good as Jim Carrey in Sonic the Hedgehog 2012?
Pretty much, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, good.
Did you say Sonic the Hedgehog 2012?
Yeah, I don't know why. He was also in that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they've rebooted the game and called it the same thing so many times. It might as well be.
yeah. Why not?
But damn, yeah, he's so good. And it feels like, I was describing it to my mum last night, who hasn't even seen the film, but it felt like Robotnik's lair, sort of like minivan motorhome thing, was just this space they put Jim Carrey in for about 24 hours and just left the camera rolling, because the movie will just be happening and then it'll cut back there and he's just doing things. And
Yeah.
it's almost irrelevant to the plot. And they just let it happen and let him be Jim Carrey. And it is so much fun. And I know people are going to hate it. I know people are going to be like, oh, it's filler. It's stupid. It's just child stuff. But I'm like, no, it's funny.
It's so good.
It's very clever fun.
Yeah, the freaking dance number that he
Oh my
has
God.
is so good.
I-
Like, it's so stupid, but so much fun.
yeah,
And also that thing is a freaking TARDIS.
it is.
It's like so much bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But yeah, like everything that happens inside that van and between Jim Carrey and his assistant
Stone.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Oh man.
And the setup for the stone line
Yeah.
at the end
The
is
whole
just
movie,
the dumbest.
the whole movie, I'm like, what a stupid name for a sidekick. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, you cheeky devils.
It's too good.
Look, there's a lot more to talk about, but we might as well, while we're there, talk about the two credit scenes. The first one, well, actually, we kind of need to talk about how that first one happens. The film has some of the best action I've seen. I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu, but I can't quite remember much of it. Like, the only bits of action I can remember of that is like him bouncing on a giant version of himself, and that's about it. Like, the end fight with Mewtwo was pretty good, but everything else is kind of a bit beige. But this film has so many just cool set pieces.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, very like super memorable and
yeah.
like just I don't know, all the fights, like all the stuff with the drones,
Yes.
the fight in the bar.
Oh, the Quicksilver sequence.
Brilliant. Yes, it's so good. I described it as that to one of my mates at work as well.
Although, I would actually, look, we're talking about action sequences. I need to
Yep.
talk about that sequence because Tom is a cop, right? A brawl breaks out. He doesn't say, everybody stop doing this. His instant thing is to punch a guy that hasn't even aggressed him yet. There's literally just a guy behind him. Someone punches someone else. He turns around and just clocks the guy. And I was like, hang on a second.
He doesn't know how to break up fights.
It's
He's from
true.
a small town.
He's a donut lord. But
Probably turns around and punches a duck that's stolen a bagel.
well, you know, you got to watch those ducks. They're related to goose and those geese.
Cheeky geese.
Cheeky geese, mate. But yeah, all the fights are great. Like, even the tiny little bit of action that happens in Tom's house, which we don't see that bit, but the bit where Sonic is like curled up into a bowl and just rolls, and like the drones just kind of these really cute little peppery sounding bullets. Like, they're not loud, they just go.
Yeah.
I just remember them just being quiet, but also making marks in his walls. So it was very distracting. But just simple scenes like that, the action is great. And then, like, a car going on a very clearly closed road, that entire sequence is great. Admittedly, most of it's spoiled in the trailers, but it's really fun.
Yeah. I love that it's just like a car and then a motorbike and then like a unicycle
Yeah,
and then just this tiny little like insect-sized drone just flying around. It's brilliant, and it's also very Jim Carrey too.
It is,
like,
totally.
You can just imagine that in one of Jim Carrey's like kids movies, like The Grinch or something. It'd just
Absolutely.
be something dumb where there's just something inside a thing inside a thing.
Yeah. And it's just so much fun.
Oh, it's so good.
And like when they think they've done it and he like throws it and it's still there. It's so
Yes.
dumb. It's such a child's film thing, but they managed to sell these like overplayed moments and they're just fun again. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's such a well written, directed movie.
Yeah.
And like in all the action as well. Let's just
Yeah.
stick with that. It looks so good the whole time.
Hmm.
Like, I never once did I look at it and I'm like, CG's a little bit weird, or like
Mm.
the CG doesn't really fit with the real world or anything. Like, sometimes that happens in Detective Pikachu.
Yeah. It's mostly good, but there's some strange moments.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. But in Sonic, for some reason, it just works and everything looks great
Mhm.
all the
It's
time.
just so good. And even within these sequences, as we've said, he learns new abilities. He's unlocking all his full potential. And that leads us to the end battle with Robotnik, which is just amazing. We haven't talked about it, but his rings are used as basically big Doctor Strange portals.
Yes.
Which I think is great. A lot of people have been like, where's that come from? The end of each level, or some levels, you jump through it to get into like a bonus stage. So it's like, that kind of exists in the game.
Yeah, cool. Okay. I didn't know that. Like, I haven't really played them. You've been playing them lately. You
Yes.
bought them all.
I did. It was a good price.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, and I actually saw a really cool theory that someone used. It's like far too deep for a Sonic film, and obviously not at all what they were thinking. But where is it? Where's the motherfucker? I can't find it. But basically, they were talking about the fact that the rings represent Sonic's lives in the game, right? Like, if he runs out of the rings, then he's pretty much dead. And in this film, if he runs out of the rings and he's stuck on Earth, he's doomed. Like, he will die if he has no rings to
Yeah.
leave the planet. And on top of that, each ring will take him to a new place, which represents a new life outside of the previous one. So when he's like, I've got to live my fullest life here, it's because once he goes to the other place, he can never come back. His life is over. So the rings represent Sonic's life.
That is probably deeper than it needs to be.
Yeah, but it works.
But it also works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
cool
really
with that.
cool. But yeah, it's the end sequence where he's throwing rings, admittedly bouncing between like Earth locations. I kind of it would have been cool if he bounced between different stages, you know, worlds that look like different stages in the Sonic games. But
That would have been cool, yeah.
it's a little tease of the future.
Or even like if he goes back to Green Hills and then like one of the Knuckles things comes through as well, and
Yeah.
like and kind of joins in, and then they have to kick him back to Green Hills.
Yep.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, just little bits like that would have been sick. It's totally fine, but
Damn. Yeah.
it's such a sick sequence, and it all ends with Eggman staring down Sonic in like one of the streets in Green Hill, because don't forget that's what they called the place that Tom lives, which is just
That's right.
the best thing ever. But that sequence, lots happen. There's some great moments from Tom, and even from our Adam Powell. It's with with the crazy man that drew Sonic.
Oh my gosh, he freaking did it. I cannot believe they put it in there. It is fantastic. It's so subtle too.
So quick.
You could so easily miss it.
Yeah, it was so good. And the chainsaw. What a great moment. But
Yeah.
that sequence when Sonic gets up, when he's ready to fight him, and he friggin' charges up and just bounces, just does like charge rolls, and far out. I was like, spines be chilled.
It is so cool.
It's just a
Far
sick.
out.
And then they push him into the ring, and old mate Kerry is stuck in the mushroom realm. So I don't know if it was just me, but when he started talking about like a different mushroom land that he had to go to, I was like, is it gonna Mario?
Oh.
I was like, is this gonna cross over? Is this the movie?
Yeah, interesting. The whole time I was just thinking that's probably a thing in a game, but I haven't played them, so I'm unaware.
Yeah, there is a mushroom stage, which is what they've actually based it on.
Yeah. So that was my instant thought, but
Yep.
I didn't go to Mario, which was
Yeah.
an interesting one. I like that thought.
Because it was like, he was constantly like, I hate mushrooms. So it was like, either it's like a dig at Mario, because that's always been the thing. Even though there's never been a rivalry, it's just fans. I was like, either it's a dig or it's like, this is going to be huge and we're not going to expect that.
It almost reminds me of this week in our Patreon group.
Yes.
Lucas posted a couple of YouTube videos, and one of them is a potential Marvel vs. DC crossover in the comic books. Did you watch that video?
I haven't watched it yet. I've been keen
Oh
to.
my gosh, it's freaking mental. It is insane. Like, I want to go back and buy all of these comics, but I feel I'm like a month out and I might not be able to track them down. But holy crap.
Oh, that's
They're
exciting.
like Superman, Flash, and Wonder Woman are essentially drawn in a Thor comic.
Yes, they were. I do remember that. Yeah.
Like, as like flashes, like
Yeah,
they're moving really fast. Like, my goodness. And they basically refer to them. And so you saying that just reminded me of that thing, which is hopefully something I would love to look into for a upcoming podcast.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
To chat about that whole thing. But holy crap, yeah, so cool. That would be awesome if the mushroom thing ended up being a little bit Mario.
A line he does drop during that is, I'll be home by Christmas, or whatever it is. Which, like, there's like 3 different things that I could pull from that, which is like, 1, maybe just to get Jim Carrey to say the word Christmas, probably, you know.
Oh, yeah.
A bit of Grinch. Yep. 2, a trailer for a new movie, or even just a teaser that there'll be another one soon. Or, I don't know, maybe that there's going to be a video game tie-in or something that might be dropping Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, I just think there's more to that than just a little Carrie saying Christmas. I'm hoping it's like, by Christmas, they know if they're making another one.
Yeah. And they it does appear that this year is the year of Sonic, because we have already gotten the
Sonic Station.
The word that we've got something about Sonic every single month of the year or something, isn't it?
There's a bi-monthly live stream of Sonic news.
Yeah, which is such a bizarre thing, but
it's very strange.
Like 2020, the year of Sonic, like it's so weird.
It's very odd.
Where is this even coming from? But
I mean, there's 2 rings in the year, I guess.
Sure. Have they been waiting for this? Like,
I don't know.
They've just been hanging back for 20 years, just waiting for 2020. So they're like, oh, double ring! It's Sonic time.
Mate, I'm so keen for, legitimately, this is a real thing, the mobile app Sonic at the Olympic Games. For some reason, they didn't get the rights to put it Mario and Sonic. It's just Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a mobile...
Because I heard...
Yeah, mobile translation
of
it.
I heard it was like a port of it, but...
It's just Sonic.
That's crazy. What the heck?
It's very odd. I don't understand. I mean, obviously there's a lot of characters of Sonic in the Mario and Sonic games, but it's strange when I saw it. I was like, did they mistype? Did they forget the Mario?
Yeah. It's not a Sonic game.
No.
It's a Sonic and Mario game.
Yeah. So
what a thing. What the heck?
It's the year of Sonic.
It really is. But yeah, so yeah, we might, I assume, as you said, we'll probably maybe get something at Christmas, or maybe they'll like release next Christmas.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I did.
My thought was just like a Christmas.
Yeah,
maybe
there'll be another
like,
Christmas movie.
if anything. But yeah, I like the other theories that we might just get another hint of something by Christmas.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I need another one of these either way. Just Jim Carrey shaving his hair, looking like Robotnik. Also, I feel like toning his voice to be a bit more gruff and Robotnik-esque in that sequence.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
There's a bit more like that. Like, it was just a bit less of the nerdiness that he was playing. Like, he's Riddler. It went from Riddler to like Grinch.
Yeah, he's definitely kind of changed and grown since moving to since ending up in the Mushroom Valley.
Since he packed his bags and popped on over to Mushroom Land.
That's it.
That's Jim Carrey's in the 90s, that's for sure.
Very good.
But yeah, that sequence is great. Then we get one of the coolest end credit sequences ever, which is like a recreation of the film in the style of the original game, including like the 3-dimensional bonus stages. It was sick.
When was that?
It's the credits.
Oh, the yes, that's right. Sorry, the credits. Yes.
Yeah. It's the credits.
It's the credits.
So passive aggressive today. But yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, that was so cool. It was so interesting to watch. It was really well done.
Yeah, it was very cool. Actually, that sequence was screened at. I've never heard of this, but there's like a credits award show / kind of film festival for just
What?
credits. Yeah, I
What?
found this out when I was trying to find out who. I've forgotten who it was, but who actually made the credits. And yeah, it was screened, just the credits, at a festival.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so very
What
different.
the heck? Okay. So we should go to that one year.
Yeah, I'd be down wherever the hell it is. Probably Cal, as the Americans called California, right? They call it Cal.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Head on over to Cal,
Just go to Cal.
cheeky Cal. But after that credit sequence, we get another one, which like I feel like everyone expected it, but didn't think it was gonna happen. But he's here now.
Oh, it's so good.
was
Freaking Tails turns up
Mm.
and is like, I can't remember what he says.
He's like, I found his trace here. He must be here. I have to find him, or whatever it is. It's really corny and Sonic-y, but it's sick.
It is. But then he jumps up and his tail starts spinning and he flies off over to Green Hills.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
so exciting.
It's so good because it's made me more excited now that I know that this film has done quite well.
Yes. It's not Green Lantern.
Yes. So they're not like really kind of shoehorning in like
Please love us.
a potential sequel, like please let us do another one. It's like this has to happen.
Yeah.
It almost definitely has to. The only thing is, which I'm nervous about, but I'm sure they can just get someone else to, is the animation company is now closed.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to find a new company, which I'm sure they'll be able to do.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that that company is closed after
All that hard work.
like a really hard work and a pretty successful film for what it is.
Yeah.
Such a shame. But they should be super proud of themselves, the people that were involved, because
Absolutely.
it's just a great movie. People should go watch it if you haven't.
It's incredible.
It's just great. It's a lot of fun, even if you don't know much about Sonic.
Yeah.
It's just dumb fun.
It's very fun.
Real good.
Before we close on the Sonic, because I feel like we're almost there, just want to talk about the music, which was very, very cool. And I've got to look it up because it was done by the age-old Junkie XL, back again as he always is. Done many, many soundtracks, but on the actual front of the soundtrack, he's credited as Tom Holkenborg. And every time I see that on Spotify, because I have listened to the first song, I've looked it up at least 124 times. Every time I look at it, I'm like, who the hell is Tom Holkenborg? And it's just him, but for some reason it doesn't say Junkie XL. It says his real name, which I've never seen in my life.
That's a weird name too.
Yeah.
A Hulkenborg.
Yeah, it doesn't seem real. Maybe it's not real either. Maybe his real name is Junkie.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna call you Junkie. That's his mum.
Hulkenborg. Not even Hulkenberg. Like, that sounds
No.
better.
Borg.
Hulkenborg. It's so much harsher to say.
It is.
Borg.
But yes, the music of this film, real good. Main thing, do not miss the start of this movie. Like, there's great music throughout it, but the biggest tribute to Sonic music and Sega in general is in the first, 30 seconds, and it, made me wet myself. Because it's just like, dun, 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 singer. It was just so exciting.
It's so cool. And the actual soundtrack, the real songs that are used in this are so cool.
Yes.
They're so much fun. It's so well done.
Yep.
Freaking the music in the bar fight
Boom, boom, boom.
is fantastic.
It's such a great song.
Yeah, and the one that Robotnik dances to
Yes.
in his thing, that's a great song too. There's just really good actual music in this, real songs.
Everything has energy. Everything.
Yeah. It's just so up the whole time.
It's so up.
So up.
Oh dear. But and there's two songs that aren't on the soundtrack on top of those real world music. The first is Friends, which is by Hyper Portions, which is the song when Sonic's in his planet, and it's just really cool and it's definitely, synthy and gamey.
Yep.
And that was actually made and is in Sonic Mania. So that's an actual track that was designed, I think, for the end credits or for Sonic Mania, that's used in the movie, which is just lifted directly from a game, which is really good.
And was Sonic Mania the fan-made one?
It was the Christian Whitehead one that, like, he was the one that was porting everything, and then it was like, hey, you seem to make better Sonic games than we ever have, so yes, you make this. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So they used a track from that, and the other track, which is right at the end of the movie, when Sonic's, like, found home and stuff, that's like this sexy piano version of Green Hill Zone. That's by John Batiste.
Cool.
So that's out on there, and that's been around for a long time. So they slid that in there, which is really cool.
Yeah, nice. Awesome.
But yes, I love this movie. I have looked, and there's a 4D session on Wednesday, and I finished shooting at like 12, and it's on at 1, and I'm like, maybe?
4D.
Imagine rocking about for this movie.
That's intense. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, if you do that, you got to report back and let us know how that was next pod.
Yeah, totally.
The other thing that got me really excited, like, I know this is the end of the pod, but jumping right back to the start, basically probably where that Sega thing was, is they have like a Sega opening crawl, like Marvel and DC and Star Wars has now. Like, are there going to be more Sega games?
There was a lot of stuff in that little crawl.
And, yeah, but what other Sega games exist that people know?
It's totally Altered Beast! Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, like, it's... Like, I'm sure there's some that I'm not thinking of that are, like, just more properties that Sega own that are, like, games that existed on other consoles and stuff. But there's nothing as big as Sega that I can think of... Sonic, that I can think of that would be like feasible for a film and to get like a filmic universe about it. Yeah. So interesting that there was a crawl at all, but yeah.
Yeah. The weird thing with that crawl, I've recorded it because I'm a sneaky little bugger. But it's like the Sega thing, and then it cuts to like a blue text on red thing, which is legitimately just the Marvel Cinematic Universe logo, and it says original film. So yeah, it's very clear they want to make more original films. So we shall see. I use my eye.
I look. I watch film. I like it.
Oh dear, it's definitely near the end. But I wonder if they'll get to the point where these movies are so successful that they could make, I don't know, I'm trying to find like a Gunstar Hero game, you know, like whether they could just like friggin' throw anything out into space and people would watch it because they're like, well, it's a Sega film. It's like Marvel made Ant-Man, and if they hadn't made another 12 movies before it, people would have been like, what the shit is this? But because they've got a universe, it's like, sure, I'll watch that. Whether that could eventually happen with these Sega films.
Yeah, totally. And then suddenly everyone will be like, I love Gunstar Hero. I know everything about it, because everyone just looks up everything during the week and watches every video and gameplay they possibly can to learn everything, to be the ultimate fan of that thing.
So that's a game by Sega. Look up Seaman, everybody.
Why did you do that?
That's a game by Sega, so fingers crossed, Seaman.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh, I want that. All I saw, there was a little notification in the bottom of my computer that just said Seaman. And it came through from you. I'm like, what is he sending me during the podcast?
It's Yoshi's Pain. All right, that's it for today's and tonight's... I've turned into Jeff Goldblum again. It's happened again, Josh.
It's happening again.
It's happened again. A spoiler cast of Sonic the Hedgehog 2012. If you want to see it, it's out in cinema now. You can see it. I'm running out of breath. I'm very tired, Joshua. If you want to see it, it's out now. And if you want to see us, you'll head over to YouTube and you'll see us, because that's the only way you can see us. You can't see us on Spotify.
You can't. This is very, very true. But you can also have a little chat with us over on our Discord, which you can get access to through Patreon at patreon.com/each to their own. Any amount of money will get you a little code to get in there. Come hang out. We got some great people. They're talking about things and comics and Sonic and Sanic and all the things.
Yeah, they're teaching us things, that's for sure.
It's so good. There's just so much, like we said last week, there is so much happening on there that we can barely keep up. But it's always interesting to jump back in and just see what people are talking about.
It is.
And look at all the things we missed.
Absolutely. Who knows what we'll talk about next week? The Harley Quinn series does wrap up this Saturday, but who knows if we'll be able to both watch that before then. But stick around, subscribe, Whatever you're doing, what are you doing? Spotify.
Follow.
Yeah, do that.
You follow the pod.
Tickle the pod. But until the next one, I've been Will.
And I've been Josh.
See you later.
Catch you later,
buddies.
guys.
See you around.
I love you. Bye.